whole story began developing 2 days ago. And from that point on, these terrible events kept on snowballing in a reign of terror that has not abated. The main advice news reporters have been able to get from official sources is to tell private citizens to stay inside their homes, behind locked doors.
A state of chaos and disorder is upon us. Will you take up arms? Will you help us make our last stand? The time is now. Let us be heard as we sing our way into battle.
Beyond, what the fuck is that?
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to a Cicada 3301 stream. Thank you to all the people Thank you to all the people in the Discord that do a lot of the research and things like that. If you guys want to join the Discord, you can do so. And remember that if you want to take part in some of the solving, there are clues inside the Cicada 3301 tokens. Doesn't matter if you buy like one token or a bunch of tokens, everyone has an equal chance of actually getting clues for the Cicada puzzles inside these tokens. And if you want to join in these solving groups and the other things of that nature, that's the Discord link right there, and I'll add that to the top of the description for people to join. Nice to see everyone there in the chat. Shout out to all the people I see. Got Betty Davis Eyes, Sophia Music, Joshua Mowdy, BB Bay, the Baron of Arizona. Very funny. Anyways, this video is 1303 in length, which is definitely a clue, which we'll discuss in a little bit. The first thing here is fishes and loaves. So in this video, I saw a bunch of things. Obviously, other people have seen some of these things. One of the things that I thought was somewhat interesting is right at the very beginning of the video, you have this sequence here. Which a lot of people were discussing on the Discord, right? And to me, that right there represents the Star of Bethlehem. I'll put on some background music. So if you look here, Star of Bethlehem is depicted as that a lot of times. The new Space Force logo, to me, looks like the Sphinx is looking up at the Star of Bethlehem. And further confirmation that it's that star is here. If you look at it here, it looks like the Sphinx is looking up at the Star of Bethlehem. And this is the like new official First Space Analysis Squadron emblem. Alright, and it looks like on it, I mean, it's a very strange emblem for Space Force to be using. Nice to see you there, Gorilla Press. And Ghost, thanks for joining. I thought this is a really cool meme someone put together. The mysterious Cicada Templars. We stand tall as before, united against the evil that has attacked the mankind. I think you meant has attacked mankind, but we'll give you a pass. The rest of it's absolutely epic. Unless you meant it that way and it's some sort of encrypted message that people need to decipher. Very nice. And that's kind of cool stuff you'll see in the Discord if you guys join, if you want to help solve things. A new video has turned up. Uh-oh, we got some hot shovel action going on here. Some Indiana Jones shovel action happening. What is this? Is this a giant block? Yes, it was a giant block. What is this? Oh my goodness. Someone left their shopping bag there. Yes, this is from a few weeks back, Ghost, confirmed. I haven't done a video in a while, so we have a lot of catching up to do. What is it? Holy hell. It's not somebody's shopping, it's... looks like a priceless artifact. Look at this thing. What is this? Interesting. Nice. So what was actually there was what looks like some sort of, you know, artifact, and people were digging through what this was. And I just saw Sophia said is on this stone there's inscriptions. On the back of the stone. Or on the top of the stone. Somewhere on the stone are inscriptions that they missed. Anyways, that was a while ago. I just wanted to show you this Belgian find, as I find that very interesting that people are, as I said, actually digging up treasure. This treasure hunt started, like, what, over a year ago in 2019? And now we're all the way to the point where people are actually digging up pirate treasure, like, all over the world. Buried, hidden, secret treasure, mateys. Another thing that came true. On August 15th, the meteor sighting over Salt Lake City might have been the fulfillment of the 33-second mark in this other video that appeared on August 15th. So August 15th, this video shows up, and then you have the Salt Lake City thing take place. So we go here. There you go. Meteor signs, right? So that was at the 33-second mark. You know, prophetic, right? You have the, like, little cicadas making kind of like a meteor type thing right in the center of the screen. You have meteor signs right at the 33-second mark. This was actually August 14th put out. So you can see this August 14th. And then meteor sighting over Salt Lake City, right? So here you have this fireball lights up the sky over Salt Lake City, and this came out on August 18th. So verifiably 4 days before this happened, that video came out, right? So another prediction by the cicada people. There's been so many. There was the Vault 7 thing with Sevens exposed. There was the Notre Dame Cathedral burning down, which I think was one of the most prophetic ones. There's a bunch of other ones. And then there's this one here with the fireball lighting up the sky over Salt Lake City shortly after this video is published. And, you know, it obviously has a similar background to Salt Lake City in the video there. And then you had TS tweeting this out June 13th, May 12th, 2013. So this is a image that, or maybe this was on Facebook, sorry. Facebook, or, yeah, it has to be Facebook because it's Thomas Schoenberger. We have the extraterrestrial sailor from the channel John Lemon with composer and pianist Thomas Schoenberger. So as you can see there, it ends with it as well, right there. Looks like the tree from Liber Primus, and it shows up like a few times throughout the video. Also back to this video real quick. I noticed at, what was it, 4:36 or so, I saw like a flash. Let's go to 4:30 and let's play this at like half. Right there. Did you see that? Right at like 4:36, there's like even slower. Right there. Something at like right there. I don't know what it is, but if you could pause it a little bit quicker, I think there's something hidden there. It's like right at 4:34, 4:35, right there. I don't know what it is. It just caught my eye when I was watching it. I was like, what is that? And then here at 7:18... see this here. See Senless right there, and then there's the like little castle looking thing. I think Malinformed Boomer just found that like very recently on Discord, which I'll show you. It's in the show notes. So shout out to Malinformed Boomer. But I think right there is that Senless place, and that's at 7:13 in this video here, the Fishes and Loaves video. So this was interesting, I thought. Spanish Stonehenge emerges from drought-hit dam. See this here. Brutal summers cause havoc for many in rural Spain, but one unexpected side effect of the country's worst drought in decades has delighted archaeologists: the emergence of a prehistoric stone circle in a dam whose waterline has receded. And is this thing like... Sweet. My lovely girlfriend's getting me coffee and water. She's awesome. So, anyways, back to this. So, brutal summers cause havoc for many in rural Spain, but one unexpected side effect of the country's worst drought in decades has delighted archaeologists: the emergence of prehistoric stone circle in a dam whose waterline has receded. Officially known as the Dolmen of Guadalparal, but dubbed the Spanish Stonehenge, the circle of dozens of megalithic stones is believed to date back to 5000 BC. But they have no idea. Like, these dates are all, you know, in my opinion, these dates are all completely just made up. Currently sits fully exposed in one corner of Valdecañas Reservoir in the central province of Cáceres, where authorities say the water level has dropped 20% of capacity. Surprise, rare opportunity to be able to access it, said archaeologist Enrique Cedillo from Madrid's Complutense University, one of the experts racing to study the circle before it's submerged again. It was discovered by German archaeologist Hugo Urbemeyer in 1926, but the area was flooded in 1963 in a rural development project under Francisco Franco's dictatorship. And see, to me, like a lot of these ancient megalithic stone sites, like I honestly believe that this stuff was all pre-flood, and there was a global flood that buried all of this megalithic stuff under sediment, which is rock put down by water, technically. And that's basically why you see all of these things all over the place buried in like layers of sediment and dirt and stuff, right? Like the stuff in Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Basically everything's just been buried in the flood, and like people just dig it up out of the dirt, and then we're like, ooh, look at this. Like the pyramids, for example, were buried by the flood mostly. And here we have another site that's buried by water and dirt and mud and stuff, because the earth changed when the global flood took place. Oh, sweet. Thank you, sweetie. Nice. Thank you very much. Are you going to bed, sweetie? Yeah. Okay. All right. You want to say hello to everybody?
Hi.
All right. Good night, sweetie.
Hi to everybody.
All right. Good night, sweetie. All right. So this is the Spanish Stonehenge, right? And it is interesting that our solar system, it does seem to be, I don't know, like it's so like perfectly designed that it seems to be a system that you can kind of analyze to be able to predict things in the future. Like the stars are so aligned and they travel in such predictable paths that if something changes, or like there's a big shift, that's something that people can notice, and then like that tells you things are going to change on Earth as well. It does seem, for whatever reason, that like as above does apply to so below, right? And I think that's why a lot of the ancients looked up to the heavens, especially before the flood, when the solar system was a lot more active and there was a lot more changes taking place. I don't believe our solar system's always been as static as it currently is. I believe in the earlier parts of Earth's history, the solar system was a lot more chaotic, right? And here we have 8 Earth years are roughly equal to 13 Venus years, meaning the two planets approximately trace out this pattern with five-fold symmetry as they orbit the sun. And it's stuff like this that's like, there's no way that this exists without it being the result of some sort of design. Now, I don't care if you want to say that, and you know, this isn't the beliefs of like the Cicada group or something. This is a lot of stuff that I believe, obviously, but this is my channel. This is the Captain Frost Cicada takes, right? So basically, like when I look up at the universe, I see it so perfectly designed that it had to have been the result of intelligent design. Now you can take that as God designing it, or you can take that as something else designing it, and we're in some sort of weird matrix of some kind, but it's one or the other. It's not just the result of accident and we're all just here due to some like long list of accidents that just so happened to take place and are coming into existence. The system is too perfect, and stuff like this is a perfect example of that. So you can see the symmetry here and like the five-fold pattern that this makes. Like that's geometric perfection, basically. And with that, there's no way, and this is just one example, you could do this with like countless different things. There's no way that the universe is not the result of design. Look at things like DNA and other things of that nature. Absolutely so. And I think that's how people like this guy here, this famous astronomer, Ibn Yunus. Abu al-Hassan Ali ibn Ab al-Rahman ibn Aman ibn Yunus al-Sadafi al-Misri. And you know he's important because he has a lot of names. Okay? And that's not actually a joke. In the Arab world, the more names you have, because the name traces back through the female side of the family, because they did this because a father could have multiple wives, so therefore to really know which one you were, they named you after the mother. And then you added the mother's maiden name every time, therefore tracing your lineage. And the more names you had, the more you could trace your lineage back to like the original Bedouin tent people of the Arab world, which meant you were like Arab royalty, basically. So like if you meet someone in the Arab world today who has 30, 40 names, they're actually someone extremely important. And the more names someone has, the more likely there's someone extremely important in the Arab world. That's just how that works. Just for so people understand that. Because I met some guy back in the day in Dubai that was from Iraq, and he had like 40 names. Okay? And he was like one of the original Bedouin people from Iraq, and now he owns like most of the river of like Iraq today. And he was talking about in the future how it's going to be a huge energy source for like the Middle East, because they're going to put hydroelectric dams all along the Tigris and the Euphrates. Anyways, getting back to this here. This Abu al-Hassan Yunus, Ibn Yunus, basically, was an important Egyptian astronomer and mathematician whose works are noted for being ahead of their time, having been based on meticulous calculations and attention to detail. The crater Ibn Yunus on the moon is named after him. Information regarding his early life and education is uncertain. He was born in Egypt between 950 and 952 and came from a respected family in Fustat. His father was a historian, biographer, and scholar of Hadith, who wrote 2 volumes about the history of Egypt, one about the Egyptians, one based on the Traveler Commentary on Egypt. A prolific writer, Ibn Yunus' father had been described as Egypt's most celebrated early historian and first known compiler of a biographical dictionary devoted exclusively to Egyptians. His grandfather had been associate and noted legal scholar Imam Shafi. Early life of this dude. So let's go down here. His astronomy is where his like famous works are from. Islamic Astronomy, Al-Kabir Al-Hakimi, Handbook of Astronomical Tables, which contain very accurate observations, many of which have been obtained with very large astronomical instruments. Yunus expressed the solutions of his without mathematical symbols, but D'Alembert noted his 1819 translation of the Hakimite tables. 2 of Ibn Yunus' methods for determining the time from solar or stellar altitude were equivalent to trigonomic identity, identified in Johannes Werner's 16th century manuscript on conic sections. Now recognized as one of Werner's formulas, it was essential for the development of the Prostheferus and logarithms decades later. Ibn Yunus described 40 planetary conjunctions and 30 lunar eclipses. For example, he accurately describes the planetary conjunction that occurred in the year 1000 as follows. A conjunction of Venus, Mercury, and Gemini observed in the western sky. 2 planets were in conjunction after sunset on the night of Sunday 19th May 1000. The time was approximately 8 equinoctial hours after midday on Sunday. Mercury was north of Venus, and their latitude differences was 1/3 of a degree. Modern knowledge of positions of the planets confirms that his description and calculation of the distance being 1/3 of a degree is exactly correct. Ibn Yunus' observations on conjunctions and eclipses were in Richard Dunthorne and Simon Newcomb's respective calculations of the secular acceleration of the moon. So this guy was inventing stuff like hundreds and hundreds of years before other people, coming up with these things by observing the night sky. Like, do you see how that works? That's incredible. Another really interesting thing that has been predicted is now coming to pass is the one world religion. One world religion set to open next year. Has this, been predicted in the Bible that they would try to do this? Yes. Is this something that, we're seeing with the star signs and all these crazy things happening in the skies above us? Yes. Are we entering into a very, very strange time in the world's history? Yes. A one world religion headquarters is set to open in 2022. The headquarters will be called the Abrahamic Family House. It is being built on an island in the Middle Eastern city of Abu Dhabi, right in the heart of the Belt and Road Initiative, mind you. The headquarters is being done in collaboration with Pope Francis and Sunni Muslim leader Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb after they both signed a global peace covenant called the Document of Human Fraternity for World Peace. Now, if I remember correctly, Jesus said he's coming back to divide, not to unite. The stated purpose of the Abrahamic Family House is to bring understanding and tolerance among the faiths. There's not supposed to be tolerance among the faiths. There's supposed to be discernment about your faith against the others. First, Abu Dhabi is a part of the UAE, where it is illegal for Christians to proselytize and conversion from Islam is prohibited. The Pope represents Roman Catholicism, where Christians are free to convert to Islam, but citizens of Abu Dhabi are not free to choose Christ. Yeah, and Abu Dhabi is all types of weird. They have all types of weird laws there. They basically hang you in the town square for having marijuana on you, which is insane. But at the same time, they have all types of Russian mafia bars full of prostitutes and stuff. It's a very strange place. Perhaps like Abrahamic Family House that promises tolerance and understanding, the UAE Constitution also guarantees freedom of religion in accordance with established customs. But the devil's in the details. Though certain practices like conversion from Islam are directly prohibited, Penal Code for UAE defers to Sharia law, which strictly prohibits apostasy. The One World Religion headquarters will have 3 buildings, one building representing the mosque, church, and synagogue. However, the church is not permitted to have a cross on the building as a method of identifying it, as it is illegal to display a Christian cross on a building in the UAE. Though usually not enforced, teaching that Jesus is the only God is considered to be an act of insulting Allah or the Prophet Muhammad, and offenders can be subject to imprisonment for 5 or more years, fined from 250,000 dirhams, which are holy hell, 250,000 dirhams? It's 68,000. To 2 million dirhams, which is 545,000. And Christians may be deported. To add the confusion of bringing understanding and tolerance, Sunni Muslim leader Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb, who is widely touted as moderate Muslim, strongly believes that Muslims who convert from Islam to any other religion, including Christianity, should be killed. It's a good place for your One World Religion headquarters. Let's put the One World Religion headquarters in a place where if you declare you're a Christian, we'll kill you. The Pope signed off on this, by the way. So if the idea of the One World Religion headquarters is to bring tolerance and understanding, then why would it build in a Muslim country where conversion is illegal? And why do it together with a Muslim cleric who teaches Muslim apostates should be killed? Isn't that the opposite of tolerance and understanding? Question mark. Connected to the construction project will be an interfaith council. to oversee projects which aim to advance tolerance, but perhaps the tolerance will be one direction. But they will fund this with, I'll show you what they're going to use. Exist. They already have their whole thing right here. They're going to survive and run their entire world religion with these bumper stickers. They're going to sell so many of these bumper stickers that they're going to be able to fund their entire world religion, and everyone will be begging them for money. And everywhere you drive, you'll be seeing coexist bumper stickers everywhere. One world religion, coexist bumper stickers. Goodness. Anyways, thus the 7 stars in Revelation and the the sevens are about to be exposed here, my friends. So what are the sevens? Well, the 7 stars in Revelation represent angels. Revelation 1:16, in his right hand he held up 7 stars, and coming out of his mouth was a sharp, double-edged sword, his face like the sun shining in all its brilliance. Revelation 1:20, the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand, and that of the 7 gold lampstands is this. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. And then I believe the 7 seals are what is unleashed on earth during the end times by Jesus, right? He opens the 7th seal, right? Then here we have verses about stars, and I thought this was interesting because, let's go through some of these here. He telleth the number of the stars, he calleth them all by their names. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visiteth him? They shall be wise, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightest of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. The moon and the stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament, and heaven divide the day from the night. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into morning, that maketh the dark of day with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. Isn't that interesting passage right there about, so that's Amos 5:8, and that's involving 7 stars and Orion. And if we go back, one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 on this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars over the Sphinx's head, right? Yeah, I can post the Discord link on Twitter for you there. Say no way to Yahweh. Thanks for watching on Odyssey over there, everybody. I appreciate it. We got Odyssey, Rockfin, and YouTube going on the Captain Frost Cicada 3301 YouTube channel. Double rainbow appears over Buckingham Palace just before the death of Queen Elizabeth II is announced. As the crowds gathered in rain-swept London Thursday evening due to the news that Queen Elizabeth II was gravely ill, the clouds parted, revealing a double rainbow above Buckingham Palace. Approximately 20 minutes after the appearance of the rainbow, the palace issued a statement at 6:30 p.m. local time announcing Elizabeth had passed away at Balmoral Castle, her retreat in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. And you can see it. A double rainbow appeared outside Buckingham Palace in London on Thursday. And here you see it right there. See the double rainbow appear. Pretty interesting. And I think the double rainbow thing is bad karma, right? Like, if you get one rainbow, it's good karma. If you get the double rainbow, that's like super bad karma. It like reverses the karma of it, right? I don't know what this was all about here. I just thought it was interesting. so I'm sugar too. Our names are the key. Question mark, question mark. I have no idea what that means. But here is the ghosts of Cicada. And this was like a WordPress website. Our names are the key. And then there was this graphic there with the sun that a lot of people have been posting images of and such, like trying to interpret the like different types of glares and things you can get from the sun on cameras and things, which is kind of interesting. You have ghost and shadow. Then a bunch of numbers. I have no idea what that means. It's in the show notes if you guys want. The show notes are on hive.blog at Titus Frost. Glorious Virgin delivers a woman from the devil, Saint Bridget. So you can see here, and as I have been covering for quite some time, the Jan Van Eyck paintings, right? So with that, in the Ghent Altarpiece, there's this woman. And the woman is this Bridget from Sweden, basically. Saint Bridget of Sweden. And, you know, Jan Van Eyck was basically, like, infatuated with her, why he painted her in this thing the way he did.
Jesus Christ, Virgin most powerful, by your blood, her belly, and in I want to ask him. The Son said, You are my mother, you are the Queen of heaven, and the Mother of mercy. You are the consolation of the souls in purgatory, and the joy of those who make their way in the world. You are the mistress of the angels, and the most holy before God, and you are also in authority over the devil. Therefore,
so there you go, an authority over the devil. The following Virgo Potence is a narrated video of chapters 16 and 17 from Book 1 of Prophecies and Revelations by Saint Bridget of Sweden, Narrated by Tony Capobianco. The bride saw a saint speaking to God, saying, "Why is the soul of this woman so afflicted by the devil when you have redeemed her by your blood?" The devil replied instantly and said, "Because she is mine by right." Then our Lord said, "What right is she yours?" The devil answered, "There are two ways. One leads to the kingdom of heaven and the other to hell. When she saw these two ways, her conscience and reason told her that she should choose my way. And since she had free will for choosing that way she wanted it, it seemed her more beneficial to her will toward committing sin, so she began to walk on my way. Therefore I deceived her with 3 sins, namely gluttony, love of money, and sensuality. Consequently, I now dwell in her belly and her nature, and I hold her with 5 hands. And with the first hand I hold her eyes, so she will not see spiritual things. With my second hand I hold her hands, so she will not do any good deeds. With the third hand I hold her feet, so she will not walk to which is good. With the fourth hand I hold her reason and understanding, so she will not be ashamed to sin. And with the fifth hand I hold her heart, so she will not return to the right way through remorse and penance. So there you go. It's an interesting story by Saint Bridget. Saint Bridget of Sweden was 58 when she began a pilgrimage to Bethlehem in 1370 or so. Here's Saints' books, holy books, and extracts for the soul. Extract from Francis John Furness, Hymns for Children. Sing the first 2 verses, each of the first part of the Air St. Choir's Hymn or Daily. Blah, blah, blah. Singing for the prayers, commandments, etc. And here you can get the links for all the stuff involving these books. And here's the actual book by Bridget here. The words of our Lord Christ to his own chosen, dearly beloved bride, Saint Bridget, about the proclamation of his most incarnation and rejection, desecration and abandonment of our faith and baptism, and how he bids his beloved bride and all those. So here you go, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And she wrote the prophecies and revelations here. So these are her prophecies and revelations. And here you have more documentation about how Saint Bridget of Sweden was the person depicted in the Ghent Altarpiece. So this has been sourced. This is the proof of that here. Okay, so that's clearly who it was. Bridget was born in the year 1303, right? So if you go back to this video here, it's how long? 1303 seconds long. Right? So, is this an ode to Saint Bridget? Right here, 1303, video length, and then she was born in 1303. Right, St. Bridget, born 1303. Bridget was the daughter of a wealthy governor who used his riches generously, donated money for good causes, and helped the poor, much like the cicada token helps the poor. He worked for the fair treatment of all people. Bridget, who was born in 1303, learned these lessons early in her life. Bridget married in a Swedish royal family and lovingly raised 8 children, one of whom came to be known as Saint Catherine of Sweden. Bridget and her husband followed her father's example of caring for people in need. It is said that she even arranged for a hospital to be built on their estate. The hospital was open to all. When her husband died, Bridget gave away all her possessions. She founded a double monastery for men and women who lived apart but worshipped together. The religious order was known as the Order of the Most Holy Savior, or the Bridgetines. When Bridget learned of the epidemic in Rome, she made a pilgrimage there to assist the sick and dying. While in Rome, she spoke out against the injustices she saw and worked to change situations that kept people from living a good life. Her words and actions influenced government and church officials, even the Pope. Bridget made a pilgrimage to the Holy Land to see places where Jesus taught, died, and rose from the dead. During her pilgrimage, Bridget experienced Christ's presence in prayer visions. Bridget died after she returned to Rome, but her body was eventually returned to her land and the people she loved and cared for. Her coffin was carried reverently through Europe to Sweden, and she is buried at the monastery she founded. Because of her holiness, Bridget was declared a saint only 18 years after her death in 1373. She is a patron saint of Sweden. In 1999, Pope John Paul II honored her once more. St. Bridget was named co-patron saint of all Europe, along with St. Catherine of Siena and St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, who was known as Edith Stein in real life. We honor St. Bridget, also known as St. Birgitta, on July 23rd each year. We can pray to Bridget, asking her to help us love and care for our neighbor as she did. So here you go, Bridget of Sweden. Here's the monastery that she was buried at, Vadstena Abbey. The Abbey Pax Mariae, more commonly referred to as the Vadstena Abbey, situated on Lake Vättern in the Diocese of Linköping, Sweden, was the mother house of the Bridgetine order. The abbey started on one of the farms donated to it by the king, but the town of Vadstena grew up around it. It was active from 1346 until 1595. Here you can see the Abbey Church. The abbey was founded in 1346 by Saint Bridget with the assistance of King Magnus of Sweden and Queen Bianche, who made a willing donating 10 farms, including that of Vadstena in Dalhundred, Östergötland, to the abbey founded by Bridget. The canonization of St. Bridget in 1391 and the translation of her remains to the Abbey Church in 1394 add greatly to the fame and riches of her community. So, very, very famous church for Sweden. Lots of famous people are buried in the Vadstena Abbey. The present modern-day monastery of the Bridgetine nuns, situated near the ancient abbey, is named Mary's Peace, Pax Mary. It's established from a Bridgetine abbey in the Netherlands, one of the very few abbeys of the original branch of the order that still remain, and currently numbers 8 nuns. In 91, it was raised to the status of autonomous abbey. The Bridgetines, or the Bergatines, formerly known as the Order of the Most Holy Savior, is a monastic religious order of the Catholic Church founded by Saint Birgitta, or Bridget of Sweden, in 1344, and approved by Pope Urban V in 1370. They follow the rule of Saint Augustine. There are today several different branches of the Bridgetines. You can see this here. The Bridgetines, or Bergatines, formerly known as the Order of the Most Holy Savior, Latin Ordo Sanctissimi Salvatoris, abbreviated OSSS, which I thought was interesting. It's pretty close to OSS, which is the original CIA, interestingly enough. It's a monastic religious order of the Catholic Church founded by Saint Birgitta, or Bridget of Sweden, in 1344, and approved by Pope Urban V in 1370. They follow the rule of Saint Augustine. There are today several different branches of the Bergatines. The first monastery of the order was founded in 1369 at the former royal castle of Vadstena. St. Bridget's granddaughter, Lady Ingrid Knutsdotter, was abbess of Vadstena from 1385 to 1403. Upon her death in September 14, 1412, direct descendant from St. Bridget became extinct. The opened medieval concept of Bridget's spiritual children, members of the order founded by her, to be her true heirs. The order spread widely in Sweden and Norway and played a remarkable part of promoting culture and literature in Scandinavia. This be attributed to the fact that the mother house at Vadstena by Lake Vatern was not suppressed till 1595, even though the Protestant Reformation had been widespread in Scandinavia. By 1515, with significant royal patronage, there were 27 houses, 13 of them in Scandinavia. Bergantine houses soon spread into other lands, reaching an eventual total of 80. The Sion Abbey in Devon continues as the only English religious community that had existed without interruption since pre-Reformation times. Sion Abbey, England's only medieval Bridgetine monastery, founded by King Henry in 1415. It was originally located by the River Thames in Twickenham, but due to the unhealthy conditions at the site, the Sion community established a new monastery a few miles down the river in Isleworth in 1431. So there you go, the Sion Abbey. Very interesting place. And right there's an engraving, the original seal of the abbess and convent of Sion. Isleworth, seated above, is the Virgin Mary holding the infant Jesus in her right arm. On her left she holds a stem of the lily, her attributing donating purity. Below is the founder of the Sion Monastery, King Henry V, who kneels praying to the Virgin and Christ above. So the intercession of St. Bridget standing behind. The royal arms of England appear on the right with the cross of St. George, patron of England. Music's too loud. There you go. Is that better? The Bridgetines had this very interesting way of encrypting stuff called extant badges. And here you have extant badges often depicted an element of the pilgrim's destination, see the pilgrim's destination, a pilgrimage. Are you on a pilgrimage? Cicada-like wordage. Extant badges often depicted an element of the pilgrim's destination or a saintly attribute. For instance, the image of Bridget writing her revelations in the aforementioned Sion Abbey badge. In this context, then, the badge would have become a miniaturized encryption of the saint. A miniaturized encryption of the saint. Charged with the saint's signified attributes, the iconic image operates as a trigger or catalyst for devotional readings that require recall of a retained narrative. The compact size of the book, coupled with the badge, would form a portable matrix of devotional apparatuses perfectly suited to pilgrimage travel. However, and perhaps most significantly, the charged iconography of the badge could also offer the reader, whether a lay gentry person or enclosed religious, the chance to recall the absent signified narrative of the saint, offering him or her the opportunity for a mental or proxy pilgrimage. It is certainly an alluring possibility to consider a reader making a pilgrimage through the pages to St. Bridget's revelations. Such a reading opens a realm of possibilities for understanding the significance of devotional artifacts in late medieval reading practices. Oh, you're very welcome there, Betty Davis. I try to, it's hard for me to know what the volume levels are, so, I try to read the chat, and if people are requesting changes in the volume level, I try to adjust it to appease as best I can. Private pilgrimages at Sion Abbey. A note on Cambridge University Library. See this here? Cambridge University Library. And that's where that stuff I just read you comes from. And here is Senless. Remember earlier in this, at this point at 7:13, and this is Fishes and Loaves, officially a piano fantasia, Thomas Schoenberger. And in this right here, you have the Senless thing. Well, Malinformed Boomer over there on the Discord looked it up. Where is it? And right here is Senless. And here is a map of Senless. Plan de Senless right there, right? And you're like, well, what is Senless? And what Senless is commune in northern French department of Ouse, Haute-Ste, France. The monarchs of early French dynasties lived in Senlis, attracted by the proximity of the Chantilly forest. It is known for Gothic cathedral and other historical monuments. Its inhabitants are called Senlisians and Senlisiennes. Senlis is situated on the river Nonette between the forests of Chantilly and de Emonville in the south and the Dehelet on the north. It is located 40 kilometers to the north of Paris and 44 kilometers from Beauvais and 75 from Amiens. The highest point of the town, 140 meters, lies at the heart of the forest, Halet, and the lowest point is located on the banks of the Nonette, west of the city. Geologically, the area is occupied by a vast limestone plateau of the Lutation, covered mostly by silt. Senlis was known in early Roman imperial times as Augusto Magus and later as Civitas Sylvanectium, city of the Sylvanectics. During the 3rd century, a 7-meter-high defensive wall, about half of which still exists, was erected around the settlement in response to Frankish incursions. So, interestingly, there's an old There's an old cathedral, and there's a 7-foot tall wall that surrounds the whole thing. And here we have the Sunless Cathedral. Groundbreaking 1153, completed in 1191. It's 75 meters long, 30 meters wide, and the height of the spire is 40 meters tall. And this is the Sunless Cathedral. These are some of the images inside of there. And I believe the branch maybe posted this. If I got the name wrong, I'm sorry. But as you rest this Labor Day, be sure to contemplate how this may relate to the Shemitah vibes of student loan forgiveness, and how at this time of year the axes would be broken because the wood chopping was over, and so with the labor completed, the axes were broken and the single laborers would go to the vineyards to find spouses. This time of year is popular for weddings and for those who fall in love during this time. There were no holidays so joyous for the Jewish people as the 15th of Av and Yom HaKippurim, for in those days the daughters of Yerushalem would go out dressed in borrowed white clothing so that they would all look the same. The king's daughters would borrow from those of the high priest. The daughters of the high priest would borrow from the assistant high priest's daughters, and the daughters of the assistant would borrow from the daughters of the high priest, designated to lead people in times of war. The Kohen anointed for the war's daughters would borrow from the daughters of the ordinary priest, and the daughters of the rest of the Jewish people would borrow from each other so as not to embarrass those who didn't have. And the daughters of Jerusalem would go out and dance in the vineyards located on the outskirts of the city, and everyone who didn't have a wife would go there. Notice the relative lack of concern about controlling the situation when the opposite sexes are mixed. Perhaps because of the recent fast in the case of Tu B'Av, and the fast on that very day in the case of Yom Kippur have triggered a sense of self-control which would not ordinarily necessarily be present. When two become one, the original fall of man began this time of year. That's interesting. Joan of Arc, on the 16th of August, 1429, D'Arc led her French troops in the historic Battle of Montepilloy, leading them to victory against the English. Interesting. And with this talk here at the end here about the fall and falling in love, I give you the strongest force in the universe, which was another video compiled by John Lemon and Lemonade. So we'll play this as we end the show for tonight. I thank you guys all for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if there's anything I missed in this little breakdown. And I'll see a lot of you guys on Discord as we continue to try to research this stuff and try to make sense of all this and put together 2 and 2 basically and find the clues hidden in these things. So thank you all for joining me live. Sorry for the late night start, but it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you guys back on this channel for another Cicada stream very soon. Peace, everybody. Have a nice night.